My name is Ali Rizvi, and it is a distinct honor and pleasure and privilege to introduce our dear friend, Dr. Frank Islam. Now, this is a very easy task and at the same time a very difficult task. Easy because Dr. Frank Islam is very well known and loved across the world. From the dusty bylanes of the remote parts of Azamgarh to being on first-name terms with the world's most powerful business leaders, politicians, presidents, prime ministers, technocrats, and academicians, and his other elite friends. Dr. Islam is an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, a civic leader, writer, thinker, and an Algerian. Dr. Islam has a very special commitment to artistic, civic, and educational causes. He is guided by the rare virtues of hard work, focus, quality, innovation, kindness, and a very genuine desire to do as much as he can. And above all, he's a very, very fine human being. In areas of education, Frank Islam serves on the boards of over 15 reputable worldwide universities, to name a few: Johns Hopkins University, George Mason University, the American University, the Marymount University, the American University in the Emirates, and again, the list goes on. Frank Islam has authored several books on entrepreneurship and also writes an exhaustive blog for the Huffington Post. He's a frequent columnist for the Economic Times of India, Foreign Policy, and other international journals. Frank Islam hosts his own television show as well. And when he can spare some time, he truly enjoys the Norton Manor, a house that he built with much love, affection, care, with his love of his life, his wife, Debbie Dreisman, in Maryland, USA. From amongst the people that I know, Frank Islam is one such great person who is very passionate about bringing quality education and empowering the underprivileged around the world, not only in India. Frank Islam has made good on the promise of his donation of $2 million. It's not the money, really. He was involved at every stage of his investment at AMU to make sure that everything that he planned, he thought, he envisaged, and invested at AMU was put to good use. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, please really put your hands together for this wonderful man, who you and I call Dr. Frank Islam.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, Mr. Pro Vice Chancellor, distinguished guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen. And Ali, thank you for that kind introduction. I should have you everywhere for my introduction. This is a really good-looking building. This is a pride of not only for Aligarh, but pride of India and the pride of the world. So, Ali mentioned about my philanthropic activities. I'm always reminded and guided by the words of President John F. Kennedy, who said, "To whom much is given, much is expected." So I would like to thank you for your warm welcome and your hospitality. But I also like to recognize Professor Siddiqui, who was my teacher when I was a student here long years ago. Professor Siddiqui, please stand up. So there were many teachers in the Department of Mathematics, but he was the one who taught me a lot of good things. And Abdullah Bhai was also my teacher. We want to recognize him as well. And I also want to recognize my family, Dr. Islam, his wife, and some of the other members of my family that are here. They always tag along with me whenever I go to India. I guess, so thank you very much for coming here. This is a truly special occasion for me, the opportunity for me to be here to participate in this dedication of Frank and Debbie Islam Management Complex is one of the highlights of our lives. This is so not because the complex bear out our names, but because the completion and dedication of this building represents a beginning and not ending. So the construction is done, now the constructing can begin. It is not the building of a building you should look at, it is the construction of the foundation that will stand the test of the time. So before I begin, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank several individuals who have worked very, very hard with us to make this dream come true. So many that I cannot mention them all. But I do want to give my deep gratitude to the Vice Chancellor. He planted the seed for the creation of this magnificent building. We would not be attending this ceremony without his vision, without his support, without his constant encouragement. So let's give him a big round of applause. I also want to recognize and express my deep appreciations to Amir Ahmed, Parvez Talib, Dr. Abdullah, Ali Rizvi, you're always in my prayer, and Toki Sherwani. Can you guys just stand up? Let's give a big round of applause. And before I forget, I would like to thank Nadeem Tareen, who has been a wonderful, wonderful donor, a generous one, and all of you have been beneficiary of his kindness and generosity. He also is one of the Algerian who has dedicated his life to make a meaningful difference in people's lives. So we should give him a big round of applause. There's an old story about a man who comes upon three people working in a construction site. He asks the first worker, "What are you doing?" And the worker replies, "I'm laying bricks." He asks the second worker, "What are you doing?" And the worker replies, "I'm building a wall." As he approaches the third worker, he hears the worker humming a tune as he works. The man asks that worker, "What are you doing?" The worker stands, looks up at the sky, smiles, and says, "I'm building a mosque." So this is not a mosque, it is a management complex. But it is the same holistic perspective that Debbie, my wife, and I bring to this ceremony, and that I believe that all of you do as well. This management complex is a place where dreams will begin, and students will develop the requisite knowledge, skills, and abilities to recognize them. This management complex represents an opportunity creator and bridge to the future. Our overriding motivation in investing in the School of Management is because of the emphasis it will place on entrepreneurship and preparing the students at Aligarh Muslim University to become entrepreneurial leaders who will engage in economic developments that will create jobs and opportunities for thousands of people in India and around the world. I hope my personal story will inspire all of you to become an entrepreneur leader. There's nothing like the excitement, glory, fun, and the sheer thrill of starting something from scratch and watching it grow into a large enterprise of astonishing proportions. I say to each and every one of you, if you have an opportunity to be an entrepreneur, grab it. Find passionate and driven people who share your sense of purpose, share your vision, set the direction, give them all the necessary resources, give them space to operate, and then work together with them to make things happen. There's an old saying which goes that leaders are born, not made. Take it from me and from my journey. Contrary to that old saying, the truth is that leaders and entrepreneurs are made and not born. As I said when we were here in February of last year for the foundation stone ceremony for this complex, and I said, while the bricks and mortars are important, far more significant is who will be in it, who will go on in this setting. It will be a place for sharing of information and imparting a development of knowledge. It will be a space where faculty and students can collaborate on the innovative project. It will be an educational empowerment zone. My comments back then were focused on the future, as was a prediction that I made. That prediction was, from this management complex will come the future leaders who will make India and the world a better place. If you notice, I use the word leaders rather than managers or executives or even business owners and entrepreneurs. That is because leaders play a special role in making society and the world a better place. An American saying goes, managers do things right, leaders do the right thing. That should be true in all fields, the government, religion, healthcare, education, and yes, even business. The problem is that we have too many people in the leadership position today that do not do the right thing. I'm certain that would not be the case for the AMU graduate who study in this management complex. I'm confident that will be true because of AMU's values, vision, and a proven performance. From the founding of Aligarh, Sir Syed saw Aligarh Muslim University as a mighty tree with branches. He forecast that this college may expand into a university whose sons and daughters shall go forth throughout the length and breadth of the land to preach the gospel of free inquiry, of large-hearted toleration, and a pure morality. That is the vision, and those are the values that have driven AMU since its establishment. Sir Syed's promise has been delivered upon. There are currently more than 20,000 Aligarh alumni in 100 countries around the world. While their career paths may be different, the one characteristic they share in common is a combination of technical expertise and moral fortitude. That has enabled the AMU graduates to make their mark in the world and to serve as a positive role model for others. AMU has a storied past. The student from this management complex will write the AMU stories of the future. In various locations in this management complex, there are quotes from me. They provide some of my thoughts on what is important for success in business and in life. One of those quotes is, there are no limits. If you conceive it, if you believe it, you can achieve it. I firmly believe that. Peter Drucker, the renowned business expert, said, the best way to project the future is to create it. I agree with Peter Drucker. As I said in my opening remarks, the construction is done, now the constructing can begin. That constructing will be done by the future leaders who will come from this management complex. This management complex is one of those branches of the mighty tree that Sir Syed envisioned. From it will come the students, the seeds from the Aligarh family tree. They will go across India and around the world. In the process, they will plant new tree. And that is why I'm so confident in my prediction that they will be in the forefront of making India and the world a better place. Thank you for joining us today for this dedication to the management complex and celebration of this beginning, an occasion that is so special to us and most appreciative. When I look back the time we spent together, the miles we have traveled together, the memory that we have cherished together, I will always think of you. Pandit Nehru once said, let us together build a noble mansion so that our children can dwell, so that our children can prosper, so that our children can have a better future. It is the future that beckons to us all. This complex is an opportunity creator and a bridge to the future. So God bless you all, and God bless this complex who will enter here.